But God knew that she'd grow up to share her feelings with the world. Her story, Treasured Journey, Diary of a Fat Black Girl. Hey YouTube, it's your favorite fat girl back again to review Charlamagne the God's book, Shook One, Anxiety Playing Tricks on Me. I'm in Barnes & Noble, and guess what I'm about to do? I'm about to review Charlamagne the God's Shook One. I'm about to read it. I'm going to tell y'all if it's good or not. All right? I'm going to tell y'all. Even start reading the book or anything about the book, I need to tell y'all something because I really feel like it may or may not affect my review. But Charlamagne the God is not my favorite person. I don't hate him. He's just said some things that I do feel like at times he's disrespectful to women and to fat people. So he's not my favorite person, but I don't hate the man. So let me see how I can explain this. If I had a list of 1,000 favorite people, he wouldn't be on it, okay? But I don't hate him. So I had to move to the closet because my kids are in and out. And I was never going to finish saying what I had to say. Might be wondering, well, if you don't like him, why you buying this book? Just to hate on him? Yeah, I was throwing money just to hate on somebody. That's dumb. I bought the book because although I don't agree with him and he's not my favorite, I didn't say I ain't like him. Okay, I said he wasn't my favorite person. Let's just be clear. So I do like what he does. And I'm not talking about being a radio personality. I'm talking about the efforts that he makes to push the culture forward. You don't have to like a person in order to support them. If you don't support the people that's supporting the community, then we have nothing. So it's definitely important to at least be open-minded and check it out. But I did want to tell y'all that he's not my favorite person because even though I'm going to say I'm like not harsh or whatever, I may be a teensy bit harsher or a little more critical just because he ain't my favorite person. Okay, the other thing. So it's like, what qualifies me to review a book? Blah, 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 blah. Nothing. I'm just a regular person just like you or me who gonna go in the store and buy the book. So nothing. But I do consider myself a free thinker and I like to read. And I have dealt with anxiety in my life and in people around me. I have my own personal stories about anxiety, which over time y'all will hear about. But I do think it gives me an interesting perspective. And I'm going to take a look at the book. I'm going to give y'all my opinions. Basically, because I'm good at that. I'm opinionated. Okay, y'all. Smart is doing this video. For so many of y'all probably haven't met her. It could be relatively boring. So I told her she got to use props. Here we go. Today, FAT stands for Feeling and Testimony. I just want to start out by saying that I'm very proud of Charlamagne for penning this book. Was very brave and very honest. Let's just give him a hand. Yay! I will talk about some things that I liked about the book. And I would encourage you to read it. In my intro, you probably heard me say Charlamagne's not my favorite person because he's not. But I do have a lot of respect for him. He has had a conversation with one of my favorite people. Which he talks to a lot of people, so I'm gonna just tell you, one of my favorite people out there is Stephen Furtick. I'm a huge fan. So let's just dig into the book. So here's the book. Okay. And I don't want to just give too much out the book. It's not my book, right? But I do want to talk about some things that resonated with me that I thought were insightful. And I'm hoping that one day I am YouTube famous enough to have a conversation with Charlamagne the God about this book, because as he was talking about his own struggles with PTSD and anxiety, he hopefully be able to understand how women and also fat people may also have some of these same feelings about going through life. So I would definitely love to have a conversation with him about that. Okay, so anyway, I highlighted some things that I wanted to share. I'm just going to jump on in. Oh, let me tell y'all about how it reads. It's a very easy read. My son, who's 7, could read it if it didn't have so much profanity. It has lots of profanity. So if that's not your thing, this is not the book for you. it basically reads how he talks. Like, if you can listen to him talk, you can read this book. It's very honest. You know he wrote it. Sounds like, his verbiage, his wording. Okay, so there is a lot of use of the P word. So like I said, if that ain't your word, Okay, so so I love just the book dedication. I wrote on there, love it. It says, the book is dedicated to those who live by faith, not by fear. Just in the world today, we're taught to fear a lot of things. I'll go on a tangent. Let me stay on task with the book. The book's foreword is written by Scarface. If y'all don't know, my mind's playing tricks on me. Anybody watching this that don't know that song, really should just look it up. Scarface talks about where that song came from, which I loved. And then we got into a bunch of stories about Charlamagne and his battle with anxiety. I've highlighted a couple things here. He said, look, I don't know why my brain works this way, but it does. It's very simple, but everyone's brain and thought processes work differently. I felt like that was just a very honest statement. Like, I don't know why it's like this, but it is. That was in the very beginning of the book. So I felt like he was going to be honest about his thoughts and feelings. Here's another little something that I highlighted early on in the book. And the more I opened up to people about my anxiety, it very quickly became evident that I'm far from alone. From rappers to radio hosts to running backs to runway models, so many successful people I know admitted to me that they are filled with angst too. There's a stigma in the Black community about mental health. It does not mean that, you're touched or whatever stuff people say. It just means that you care about the way you see things and you'd like to get a healthy perspective on those things. He mentioned that he has PTSD. Maybe like a little more than a third of the way through the book. It says, the goal of any good therapist is to help you resolve that internal conflict and become truly comfortable in your own skin without any mask at all. Clinically, we call that being integrated. Integration goes a long way to resolving your anxiety. So I love this because it tells you what the goal of therapy is. That therapy is to help you with those thoughts versus those feelings. And I felt like that was very well articulated. He has some good stories, okay? I don't want to tell y'all the stories in case y'all want to read the book, but it's some really like, oh, for real, that's how you feeling? Okay. Oh, all right then. Okay, so it's some juicy stuff in here. But like I said, he goes into talk about some of the health issues regarding anxiety, which I loved because people don't always recognize how their mental health affects their physical health. Elevated cortisol levels can cause weight gain, increased blood pressure, increased blood sugar, increased cholesterol, lower immune function, lower levels of learning and memory, and depression. I've said 1,000 times that stress killed more people than obesity did. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother tangent. We're going to talk about that later. And it can have very serious long-term harm. So if this is something that you're feeling, you should definitely address it. So he goes back from the stories to the science, to the stories to the science. It keeps you engaged, but it also informs you, which I love. Here's another thing that I liked. He said, feeling that I owed people a yes was unnecessarily bringing anxiety and stress into my life. Learning how to say no is a big thing. But I love that. Because I think a lot of people feel that. No matter where they are in life, whether they're famous or they're a mother or they're a wife, feeling like I gotta say yes, stressing me out because I don't want to say yes. That resonated with me as well. Another thing, he talks about emotional mold. I liked this metaphor because that's just kind of what it is. Old stuff that's just kind of growing and gross. So I thought that was a very good metaphor. But he says about the emotional mold, you might not feel it at first, but over time that mold is going to keep growing until it becomes extremely toxic to your well-being. Just like an old attic or garage that gets filled up with clutter, every once in a while you've got to open up your emotions and unpack all that stuff you've been hoarding away. I loved it. Great metaphor. Great metaphor. For somebody that didn't understand why they might need to seek help, Because we all got stuff. If you've ever moved, you'd be like, where all this stuff come from? You just accumulate stuff. We all accumulate stuff, memories, experiences, feelings about those memories and experiences, and you've got to get rid of the stuff that's not helpful to you. You have to. So then he brings it like kind of to how his anxiety, because a lot of times we have obstacles in life and we don't really recognize how much they shape us in a positive way. So he was able to make that correlation as well. He said, if I hadn't been so afraid to fail, I would have never made it to where I am today. But then he recognizes where that fear is also toxic, and he says, yet while that fear of failure served me very well, it was only up to a point. And okay, so towards the end, he kind of sends out like a hey y'all, so like friends. He said, if someone is trying to pull you down or hold you back, stand firm in your knowledge of self. Know where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And if you need to take your good friend anxiety with you on your journey, then do it. Let that fear of all the old shit people can use against you be your fuel to never be those things you don't like about yourself ever again. But if you have learned from it, you are a better person now. Then you are moving in the right direction. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So overall, Charlamagne's book was it this. Yay! Charlamagne the God! Yay! I'm proud of him. Come back and see me at Treasure Journey, Diary of a Fat Black Girl, your spot for all things fat, all things black, and all things girl. Love y'all, YouTube. See you later.